Alright, and we're back with the Castle of Succession in Gauntlet 4 for the Sega Genesis. See here we're in the main player hub. Down here we have the magical room. That's basically the save room where you can get your player passwords and level passwords, and you can add other players at that point too. Open up the pause menu, you can see my stats here. We're kind of low on shot power. First one there is the magic power, the second is the shot power, we're low. The third is the fight power, the hand-to-hand combat. Then at the bottom we have experience and HP. And here we have shot speed, defense, and running speed. Here's our starting equipment and the items, which we do not have any of at the moment. And our current player password. And back to that. Unpause and go see these guys here. They're the merchants who start us off on the adventure here. Can kind of tell us what's going to go on. We have these towers, but they're kind of mazes. And they mention the traps, which we'll see once we get in there. And the crystal.
Welcome.
They give us some items. Crystals they're talking about will look like these here, which are guarding the castle. And the traps are the trap tiles, which you can see a lot of in the arcade mode as well. But in the arcade mode, they often open up walls that introduce a whole lot of enemies or something that really make playing really tough. But in the quest mode here, they're kind of necessary to proceed. So they also have their shop available here and various equipment types with stat upgrades. They get kind of costly. You can see the weapons, the shields, armor, and miscellaneous. They have what they just gave us, which is pretty cheap, and some really expensive rings. And that's it. And each individual character will get their own kind of differently named, different stats for all their equipment. You can see here showing off all the 4 towers. See the tiles that are bordering each of them. These are the no magic tiles. When we get potions, these tiles will not allow us to use any magic. Down here we have no shot tiles, cannot shoot any arrows. Come over here. They usually get annoying. Here we see the kind of darker colored walls. These get to be destroyed by a shot. Those will be all over the place here. And I can kind of show off one of the reasons I like playing the Valkyrie rather than the warrior or something. Here we see me shooting at a corner, and all three characters besides the warrior can do this. The warrior's shots are just too big to shoot through corners or next to corners or anything, and they just like die right in front of them. The wizard also has that problem occasionally, like they won't proceed through every wall, but you won't have that problem with the Valkyrie. She works pretty well. I'm going to start with the Tower of Fire here because it's got one of the most important items really to grab early in the game. We start off here on the first floor and see loads of enemies, treasure, items. In this game you saw we have experience rather than a point system. And the experience is determined by the generators destroyed rather than the enemies. So you could sit here and farm grunts off of this generator forever and you wouldn't get any experience for it. It's all the generators. Of course it does help to destroy all the enemies as you go because they can get kind of annoying. See here we have a special tile only found in the fire tower, the pain tile, or the damage tile, which of course causes damage, which is very bad. To avoid those as much as possible. We have some doors, some ghosts. See, we're traveling through some more no magic tile zones, which isn't important because these are all really weak enemies. Whichever tower you start with, you'll find all the enemies are fairly weak. That demon just destroyed that food up there, it's alright. Go ahead and go grab that food. See, our HP can only go up to our maximum 2,000 now. We might upgrade that a little later, but it's not really important early in the game. An HP of over 3,000 or something is really a little overkill. Just going around and collecting all the treasure, kind of avoiding as much damage as I can, shooting around corners and avoiding combat where possible. You saw me over here with these teleporters. You can control which direction you end up if you hold a certain directional button while you're on it. So I can hold up and I'll end up at the top side of the next one, or hold down and I'm at the bottom. If you don't hold anything, it tends to be kind of random. And it usually only teleports you to the closest teleporter available, which can get kind of annoying depending on if there's several around and you want to get to a certain one. Saw there a lobber trying to lob things at me. These are these guys. Travel that tile. Some keys, treasure. As for the scoring system in this quest mode, besides the experience, we also have the gold points you see there next to my health. And those are obviously collected from the treasure things. And each one gets kind of a random value. You could replay the level over and over and you'll get slightly different values. But the most important thing when playing is to get the trap tiles, which give you a bonus multiplier or a bonus depending on how many towers you've already defeated. See here, I've mostly cleared out this area, and now I have to get up to the second floor. I could go this way, but I'll show why that's kind of a bad idea. Usually the ones immediately to the right are something special, so I'll come over here to the left to the second floor. So I have some experience now, but not enough to do anything yet. See, there's one of these special treasure chests. They just kind of run away from you. They're not too bad. They can get in the way of shots sometimes, or they can just be hard to track or chase down. Nothing terrible. Some ghosts there. Key. This tile. That amulet there you see is the amulet of invisibility, or limited invisibility, which means none of the enemies will see where I am. Everybody just kind of drifts to the left once you get it. See, when you shoot, they kind of get some idea that something's there, but they can't quite track you down. I'll go ahead and try and take these guys out while I'm invisible. Didn't make it. See, there's death up there as well, so we'll go ahead and shoot a potion to get rid of those guys. Get rid of this mess. The demons think they can get to me. All the enemies, demons and ghosts are probably the most irritating. The demons can shoot you so much before you can get to them from so far away. See, right there he's trying to shoot me and I didn't have that wall in the way. I'm in trouble. So these sorcerers have a little more hit points than usual. Get that generator out. See, with every trap tile I get, I open up a bit more wall somewhere, which allows me to find even more. So I'm shooting that treasure. We'll see something later where some of the treasures are actually mimics, and they'll act kind of like death and suck away your life. Okay, I'm going to take out that, and we're going to take these lobbers out. You can see they don't have any close range attacks, so you can just get up real close to them. They don't mind. See, right here's a death treasure, a mimic treasure. They just take one shot and they'll die. Food. Alright, we've mostly got this floor cleared now. Just gonna use a potion. Weaken these guys. They're a little too strong for my magic power right now. A little later we can upgrade our magic strength and we'll be able to clear out an entire screen in one shot. I'm gonna use another one. A whole bunch of high-level ghosts. Somewhere in this mess is another trap tile. I think it might be the last. Maybe the second to last. There it is. I'll go ahead and ignore those ghosts now. Damage, damage. A whole bunch of treasure. These guys out. Treasure. Oftentimes you'll see some of these side rooms on the floor that have like loads of treasure, food and stuff, and sometimes they'll make it just impossible to get to. This time was not one of those times. Like that. And I'm going to go back down to the first floor now, because this is an area I couldn't access quite before. This is that center area with the final trap tile now on the first floor. You'll see when we go back upstairs that having gotten through all the trap tiles on the second floor, none of the enemies will respawn. None of the generators or anything, and none of the treasures either. So that's one of the ways you can know you've done everything on a floor, is to go back to it and see how empty it is. Excuse me. Let's go through and clear all these guys out for the experience. So the food is back as well. I think there is one more trap tile. Yeah, right under that destroyable wall up there. So lava that generator. Usually important to keep a few keys around in case you run into a point where you've got a whole mess of doors to get through and not enough keys to do it. Although sometimes those areas will become kind of traps where you don't want to open any doors and keys become a liability. We'll see that. I don't think it'll show up in this tower, but we'll see some of that later. Treasure experience, we'll finish this off. That was the last trap tile for this floor. You want to collect all the treasure and experience you can now before it all basically disappears. This corner. We'll head upstairs this way. It's a new area. And this is kind of a secluded area in the second floor. You can see nothing's respawned. We'll head upstairs again to the third floor now. This is another kind of secluded area for this floor. You can't really get anywhere from here. But what I'm going to do, the reason I came here was for this here, the heal ring. Kind of the most important item to grab. Hit A here in your items and equip it. And now you can see my health is no longer decreasing every second. You can think of it as either healing you the same rate you lose health, or just turning that off completely. Another treasure chest there. And that's really all we can do from here. I can go ahead and show off this right area here. I just call this sort of the spiral staircase of every tower, where you can kind of travel completely up or down the tower from right here. Can't really get anywhere else. You just go up and down, up and down. But we'll go ahead and leave now. Back to the second floor to get to an area we can get to. I think what I'll actually do is, my style of play is to get all the rings I can first, and then come back with a little more experience and strength. So we have enough experience now as well, we can boost that up a little. So, I think I'm going to end this video here shortly, and we'll end here right about now. I'm going to go pick up the other rings, and if you want to just follow along this tower, you can wait until those videos are uploaded, or you can follow along to get the rest of the equipment. And that's where I'll leave off now. Bye.